At 10 o'clock in the evening, there were 17 people online in my live stream room. Among them, 16 were there to insult me. The barrage of comments flew by at lightning speed. Streaming again. This fraud sure is dedicated. Master, yesterday you said I'd encounter a blood-related disaster today. Does a mosquito bite count? Accurate, isn't it? Haha. Technically, mosquitoes do suck blood, so I guess it counts. Seriously, streaming fortune-healing in this day and age. I've already reported you. Just wait for your account to be banned. I glanced at the comments but showed no reaction. I was used to it. In front of the camera, I wore a black t-shirt so washed out it had turned pale. On the table before me were an old copper coin, a brush dipped in cinnabar powder, and a worn yellow-bound book. 3 readings tonight, I announced, placing a hand over the copper coin on the table. Fortunes for the kind-hearted are half price. For villains, double. The barrage of comments exploded into laughter. Fraud actually distinguishing between good and evil. Streamer, how about telling your own fortune? When will you get banned? 3 minutes max. I had just picked up my water cup to take a sip when a pop-up appeared in the chat system. A request for a live link-up. The profile picture was a meticulously edited side portrait. Next to the username was the gold badge of platform certification. Xin-ching. My hand paused mid-motion. For a moment, the barrage of comments froze. Then, in the next second, they went wild. Whoa, whoa. Top-tier actress Shening Hua. No way. Fake account, right? It's got the gold badge. It's really her. The number of online viewers started skyrocketing. 20, 100, 3,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. In less than half a minute, my live stream room lagged from the sheer volume. The barrage flew across the screen so fast you could barely see my face. The live link-up activated. On the other side of the screen, Xin-ching was sitting in a dressing room. She wore a white haute couture gown, her makeup flawless, her features stunningly exquisite like a painting. Behind her stood her assistant, makeup artist, and 2 recording cameras. She hadn't accidentally stumbled into my room. She was here deliberately with a purpose. Good evening, Master Chun. She smiled warmly. The barrage blew up again. Chinua looked stunning. What kind of scammer is this? How did he score a link-up with my wife? I leaned back in my chair, looking at her indifferently. Fortune-healing, exactly. She tilted her head slightly, her gaze full of scrutiny. I've heard you're quite accurate. I just happen to have a question for you. She took a sip of her coffee and her smile suddenly turned cold. Tell me, when will I get married? The barrage instantly boiled over. What a killer question. Who would dare predict a marriage date for a celebrity? If he dares answer, we'll see him on tomorrow's trending search list. I looked at her but said nothing. She knew exactly what she was doing. Recently, supernatural-themed live streams have become quite popular, swarming with self-proclaimed masters lying through their teeth to scam money. Her team clearly intended to produce and expose video titled Celebrities Debunking Superstition. I was their chosen target, an unknown, down-and-out nobody. Easy pickings. If I dared to give a random answer, she would expose me on the spot. If I hedged and dodged, she'd press for a definitive reply. This was a game she couldn't lose. Master, please don't say something vague like, "Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed," she said deliberately. With so many people watching, you've got to give me a precise answer, right? The number of viewers surpassed 300,000. Comments filled the screen like a blizzard. Answer her. Are you scared or what? If you can't figure it out, just apologize and quit streaming. But I didn't pay attention to the viewers. My gaze landed on her face, her brow, the corners of her eyes, her marriage palace, her lifeline. My expression darkened. Her smile remained, but at the very tip of her brow lingered a faint thread of black mist. It extended like a fine line from behind her ear. This wasn't the aura of love, nor was it marriage. It was the aura of death, and it had been hanging around her for quite some time. My fingertip pressed lightly against the copper coin, eliciting the faintest vibration. Are you sure you want to ask? My voice dropped a notch in tone. Of course. Her smile didn't waver, likely fearing I'd back out. I Xinqing why I'm asking you before the entire internet, when will I get married? I stayed silent for 2 seconds. The comment section was flooding with impatient prompts. Finally, I spoke. You won't get married. The entire live stream froze as though someone had hit pause. The comments vanished for a moment. Her smile stiffened for a brief second before she forced it back. Why are you implying no one would want me or that my marriage would fail? The comment section erupted. How dare he curse our Chiwa? Legal action incoming. Didn't Chinua just announce her engagement recently? He's saying she won't marry. Behind her, her assistant leaned in and whispered, Chinua, should we end the link up? She didn't. Instead, she stared at me intently, her smile fully gone. You said it now. You'd better explain yourself clearly. If I explain it, you might not be able to handle the truth, I replied. What could I possibly not handle? My fiancé's family background is spotless. He's a good man. Our relationship is stable, and the wedding date is already under discussion. She sneered. Either you present evidence or my lawyer will be in touch. I suddenly asked, what's your fiancé's name? How is that relevant to you? You don't have to tell me. But the name he uses isn't his real name. Her expression flickered very subtly. If the camera wasn't up close, no one would have noticed, but the comment section caught it. Wait a minute. Did you see that? Her expression changed. She placed her coffee cup back on the table, its bottom making a sharp clack as it touched the surface. Go on, let's see what else you can make up. My gaze shifted to the scene behind her. The dressing room was brightly lit. Yet in the mirror behind her, only her reflection showed. Her assistant and makeup artist, who were clearly standing beside her, were absent from the mirror. My eyes narrowed. Have you recently been having the same recurring dream? I asked suddenly, her fingers tensed. In the dream, there's a bridal chamber. Red bed sheets, a double happiness symbol on the headboard. The window can't be opened. There's a figure sitting on the edge of the bed, back turned toward you. Every time you try to see their face, they ask you the same question. Her face grew paler by the second. I slowly articulated the final words. Qinghua, why won't you marry me? The dressing room fell into dead silence. The coffee cup in her hand nearly slipped to the ground. Her assistant looked at her in shock. The comment section devolved into chaos. She's actually dreamed about it. This has got to be scripted. No way this is real. I'm suddenly feeling chills. You've been investigating me, haven't you? Did you buy my personal information? Xinqing Wu snapped, gritting her teeth. I shook my head. Your dream isn't just a dream. It's a warning. Shut up. Her outburst came too suddenly, catching even herself off guard. The comment section went even more wild. She's cracking. She's panicking, ignoring the flood of comments. I stared directly at her and said word by word, you asked me when I would get married. I'll tell you now, you won't get married because your fiancé died 3 years ago. Boom. The live stream exploded. The viewer count broke through 800,000. The comment section surged like an avalanche. Her fiancé is dead then. Who's with her now? Wasn't Xin Xingu's fiancé just photographed picking her up from work a few days ago? They were even holding hands. So, the streamer is implying it's a ghost. She sprang to her feet, her chair sliding back with a sharp grating sound. Qin Buon. It was the first time she addressed me by my full name. Do you even know what you're saying? My fiancé is alive and well. He's coming to pick me up tonight. Her voice trembled, not with anger, but with a fear strangled by intense fury. I picked up the copper coin, flipping it once between my fingers. I'm not cursing him. The dead don't need my curse. Her eyes turned red. Shut up. Her hand reached out, about to sever the live connection. That's when I spoke. Don't hang up. Her fingers paused on the screen. I fixed my gaze on the door behind her, my voice turning cold. Right now, don't open the door. What? Something is outside that door. The comment section froze for a second. A moment later, there was a knock on the dressing room door. Knock, knock, knock. Not too loud, not too soft, rhythmic. She froze in place. Her assistant instinctively glanced toward the door, their face pale. From outside, a man's gentle voice called, Chinhua, it's me. I've come to take you home. A million viewers heard those words simultaneously. Her pupils contracted sharply. Because that voice, it belonged to her fiancé. I stared at the screen, slowly pressing down on the copper coin in my hand. I already told you he died 3 years ago. The thing outside the door is not human. The blood drained from her face in an instant. Ching, it's me. I've come to take you home. The voice was soft, familiar, even tinged with a smile. But her fingers hung frozen in midair, unable to bring herself to open the door immediately. Her assistant, Xiaoho, stood behind her, just as pale. Sister Chin, is that really Mr. Gu? The comments section went wild. Her fiancé showed up. The streamer's bluff is getting exposed. He's right there at the door, and you're claiming he's been dead for 3 years. How embarrassing for this so-called master to be proven wrong. She stared fixedly at the door. She should have felt relief, but for some reason, a chill began crawling up her back. My words still echoed in her ears. The thing outside the door is not human. She bit her lip, forcing herself to stay calm. Couldn't be true. Ganuin was very much alive. They had just had dinner together last week. The paparazzi had even caught them in public a few days ago. She could still remember the warmth of his palm. How could a living, breathing person have died 3 years ago? 2 more knocks came from the door. Chinhua, why aren't you opening the door? I sat before the camera, silent. My gaze fixed on the door, deep in thought. She turned to the screen. Chimufan, you heard that? My fiancé is right outside. I heard. Then why are you still claiming he's dead? Clinging desperately to her composure, her voice grew sharper. What do you have to say now? The comment section piled on immediately. Next, he's going to claim it's a possessed body story. He should be sued. Absolutely sued. I raised my eyes to meet hers. Do you want to open the door? He's my fiancé. I nodded. Then open it. But once you do, no matter what you see, don't leave the camera's view. Her palm clenched into a fist. That sentence was like a needle pricking her heart. But the comments ridiculed her endlessly. Don't leave the camera's view. Is that where his act falls apart? Open it. Prove him wrong once and for all. She took a deep breath, walked up to the door, and grasped the handle. The metal door knob was ice cold, abnormally so. She froze for a moment. The dressing room had the heater on, but the doorknob felt like it had just been fished out of ice water. China, the voice from outside called again. This time, it sounded startlingly close, as if the man's lips were pressed right against the crack of the door. A chill ran down her spine as she abruptly yanked the door open. Standing outside was a man, black suit, white shirt, tall and clean-cut. His features were gentle, his demeanor refined. It was her fiancé, Gu Yaanyuan. He held a bouquet of white roses in his hand, and when the door swung open, he greeted her with a helpless smile. Why'd it take you so long to open the door? Was the live stream too exhausting? She stared at his face, her heart racing wildly. It was him, the very much alive Yaanyuan Guyan reached out, lightly brushing her forehead with his fingertips. Why do you look so pale? Have you not been eating properly again? But the moment his skin made contact with hers, she shuddered violently. Cold. Freezing cold. Not the temperature of a normal person's hand. More like jade that had just been removed from an icebox. Guyan didn't seem to notice. Instead, he turned his head toward the camera, his smile polite and warm. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chingu's fiancé, Yaanyuan. I just heard that a certain streamer claimed I've been dead for 3 years. He smiled faintly. I'm sorry to disappoint you all, but I'm alive and well. The comments section exploded instantly. Mr. Gu is so handsome. Shouldn't the fraudster step up and take the L? Let me ask you this. Can a dead man chat like this? Seeing Gu Inwan appear before her, Xinhua finally exhaled a breath of relief. The lingering fear seemed to dissipate as she found solace in his presence. Turning to face the screen, her eyes brimmed with suppressed anger, faintly re-ened. Chin Bufan, can you see clearly now? He's standing right here, breathing, talking, walking. What exactly are you trying to pull? Yaanyuan stood by her side, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder. The gesture was intimate, natural, yet somehow the side of her body where his hand rested felt inexplicably cold. I didn't look at Gianyuan. I stared fixatedly at the hand he had placed on Shan Qinggua's shoulder. The fingers were long and immaculate, but the fingertips were tinged with a bluish hue, shrouded faintly by an unnatural dryness, like the hand of a corpse. I slid the copper coin across the table, pushing it forward half an inch before it came to a stop. Shining, I said, if you want to know whether I'm lying, it's very simple. She glared at me coldly. What are you scheming this time? Have him look in the mirror. The live stream stuttered for a moment before detonating in disbelief. What kind of trick is this mirror nonsense? Here comes the classic horror stick. What now? Going to say ghosts have no reflection. So cliché, but I kinda want to see it. Gianyuan's smile froze for a moment. It was so quick that almost no one noticed, but I did. Qingqing saw it too. He lowered his head to look at her. His voice remained gentle. Qinghua, don't indulge in such childish games with him. You've worked hard enough filming today. Let's go home. Shall we? As he spoke, his hand rested lightly on her shoulder. A chill ran down Shan Qingyua's spine. Instinctively, she sidestepped away. His hand hung suspended in midair. The atmosphere turned awkward in an instant. Even the Livestream's bullet comments sensed that something was off. Wait, didn't Mr. Gu seemed reluctant to take the photo just now? It's just a photo. No harm done. Qinghua, make him take it. Look in the mirror. Qingqing looked at him and murmured softly. Yanwan, just take the photo. A trace of shadow flickered in his eyes, but he quickly smiled again. All right, if that's what you want. Turning toward the camera, he sighed with fainted helplessness since Master Chun insists. I'll cooperate to prevent anyone from misinterpreting the relationship between me and Qinghua. Mr. Gu is so magnanimous. True elegance of the wealthy. Take it. Let's see the slap in the face for the host. Qingqing held up her phone and slowly turned around. The dressing room wasn't large. Against the wall stood a full-length mirror. The glass was spotless and the room was brightly lit. She walked toward it, the camera wobbling slightly. Gianyuan followed at her right. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Hold your phone steady, I said. She froze, her breath catching in her throat. She didn't reply, only pointed the camera at the mirror. In the next instant, the barrage of real-time comments abruptly stopped as though someone had silenced them. In the mirror, Xinxing W stood there, pale-faced, holding up her phone. Behind her, the makeup table, chair, light stand, and a bouquet of white roses were clearly reflected. Even her assistant, trembling near the door, was completely visible. But on her right side it was empty. Guyan had been standing right next to her shoulder. Yet, in the mirror there was nothing. No person, no shadow. Only the bouquet of white roses floating midair as if gripped by an unseen hand. The room was deathly silent. Qingqing stared at the mirror, her pupils dilating bit by bit. She slowly turned to look beside her. Guyan was indeed standing there watching the mirror as well, but the smile was gone from his face. It took 3 full seconds before the first comment appeared. WTF? Where's his reflection? Guyan has no shadow. The white roses are just floating. How did they even stage this? How could the live stream make effects so real? Qinghua, run. Get away from him. Qinggua's trembling fingers caused the camera to shake. Guyan tilted his head, looking at her. His voice was no longer soft. Qing, are you afraid of me? Her lips grew pale. Yanwan. She instinctively moved backward. He suddenly reached out, gripping her wrist tightly. His hand was ice cold, so cold that she almost screamed. Didn't you say you would marry me? His gaze darkened as it bore into her. Why are you afraid of me? Tears welled up in her eyes. Let go of me, her assistant shrieked. Mr. Gu, you're hurting Miss Qinghua. He ignored her, focusing entirely on Shining Wua. His once refined face now appeared ghostly pale under the light. My voice broke through the frozen air, calm but sharp. Gianyuan, the dead should stay where they belong. He slowly turned his head to look toward the camera at me. His expression completely changed. Gone were the gentle demeanor, the eloquent charm, and aristocratic air, all replaced by a chilling darkness. Master Chun, he enunciated each word coldly. You're meddling where you shouldn't. Did he just admit it? Call the police. Stop gifting first. Report this. I don't meddle with the dead, I said. But if you entangle yourself with the living, then it becomes my problem. He laughed abruptly. It was a light, ethereal laugh. Yet it made Xing Ye's whole body tremble with fear. She promised me. She said she would marry me. Xing Kinga shook her head vehemently. I didn't. I have no idea what you're talking about. His grip tightened. You forgot. Then I'll help you remember. With that, he suddenly raised his hand. Not to strike her, but to grab her phone. Shining Hua, don't let him touch the phone, I commanded sternly. She tried to retreat, but he moved faster, his hands seizing the edge of the phone. The image blurred violently, spinning chaotically. In the final moment, everyone watching saw his furious face fill the screen, his black eyes devoid of even the slightest glint of light. Chin Buon, you can't stop this marriage. Snap. The live stream went dark. The moment the feed cut out, my stream exploded. The screen remained black, yet the viewer count surged wildly. 800,000, 1,200,000, 1,800,000, 2 million. Bullet comments flooded the screen endlessly, obscuring my own face. What just happened? Is Shun Qinhua in danger? Gui didn't have a reflection. I recorded everything. It has to be the mirror angle. Angle my ass. The floating bouquet. How do you explain that? This is scripted drama. Pure hype between a top idol and a small streamer. Has anyone called the police? Someone called the police. I stayed seated, pressing an old copper coin against my palm until it left a red mark. I made no effort to explain nor responded to the accusations. The quieter I was, the more panicked they became. A platform administrator entered, issuing one warning after another. Do not spread superstitious or fear-inducing content. Refrain from inciting audience panic. I lifted my gaze. Admin, I said calmly, don't shut this down. Help save her. At those 4 words, the comments erupted again. Save her. Save who? Platform. Don't shut it down. If something happens, can you afford to take responsibility? Streamer? Give us the address. I pulled out an old worn piece of yellow paper, its edges frayed from years of use. Picking up a brush dipped in vermilion, I began to write. The live stream showed only my hand carefully laying down stroke after stroke. The comments slowed down. All eyes on that piece of paper. Finally, a line of text emerged. High West Outskirts. Chingon wrote, abandoned construction site beneath crane number 3, 7 steps southeast. I pushed the paper toward the camera. Call the police. Have them dig. The comments paused for half a second before bursting into chaos. The corpse from 3 years ago is here. Here. He actually dares to write an address down. If it's fake, this is a false police report. Streamer, are you out of your mind? Qingwu Wan Road. Abandoned construction site. I'm in Haising. I'm calling 1110 right now. This is either a god-tier moment or jail-timed. Some cursed, some recorded. Some frantically tagged Hang's local police. People from Haising itself started driving to the location. Within 10 minutes, it had already hit the trending topics. Shinkinga disconnected from live stream. Guyan has no reflection. Mystic streamer writes burial site address. I was still sitting. The tea had gone cold, untouched. Some asked me to explain the reflection. Others questioned if Shan Shinu was safe. Some cursed me for sensationalizing while others begged for my help. I responded to none of them. I only glanced at the clock. 10:47. Then I said, 13 minutes left. 13 minutes left for what? Are you saying Shin Hua only has 13 minutes left? Streamer, explain yourself. I remained silent and lowered my head to scribble 4 words on the back of the yellow talisman paper. Do not turn on the lights. Do not turn on the lights. What does that mean? Is it meant for Shinshin? She has already cut the connection. Just as the chat erupted in chaos, a new message popped up. The news is out. and then the entire screen flooded. Haiqing News just pushed an update. Something was really dug up on Qing Road. Human remains. They found skeletal remains. It was right under crane number 3 in the exact location you mentioned. Qin Bufan's address was real. The Livestream channel felt as though it had been struck by lightning. Half of the skeptical voices instantly fell silent. The news headline was cold and jarring. The headline on every major news outlet spread across the internet with astonishing speed. Human skeletal remains discovered at abandoned construction site after livestream tip. The comments in Chun Bufan's livestream changed instantly. Moments ago they had called him a fraud. Now no one dared laugh. The viewer count surged again. 2 million, 2.3 million, 2.8 million. Every second thousands of new people flooded into the stream. No one cared about fortune-telling anymore. Everyone wanted one answer. Was Qing still alive? Chun Bufan slowly placed the brush on the table. His fingers had begun trembling. Not from fear. From exhaustion. Using the heavenly eye to peer through death always demanded a heavy price. Blood trickled quietly from the corner of his left eye. He casually wiped it away with his sleeve before anyone noticed. The comments immediately exploded. His eye is bleeding. Is that fake blood? Master Chun. Are you alright? For the first time that night, he answered, I'm fine, but she's not. Silence filled the livestream once again. At that exact moment, inside Qing's dressing room, darkness, complete darkness. The lights had gone out without warning. Only the phone's cracked screen illuminated the room with a faint blue glow. Qing struggled to breathe. Her wrist still burned where Gu Yinwan had grabbed her. The icy sensation had not disappeared. Instead, it was spreading through her entire arm. Her assistant Xia Hao cried while clutching Qing's shoulder. Sister Qing, where did he go? Qing looked around. The dressing room was empty. The bouquet of white roses had fallen onto the floor. The door remained wide open. The hallway outside was completely silent. No footsteps. No security guards. Nothing. It was as if everyone inside the television station had vanished. Then, her phone vibrated. The live stream had disconnected. But one message appeared across the screen. Don't turn on the lights. No sender. No number. Just those 5 words. Her breathing stopped. She remembered exactly what Chun Bufan had said before everything went black. Do not turn on the lights. Her fingers froze above the emergency light switch. Click. Somewhere inside the hallway, footsteps echoed. Slow, heavy, dragging across the floor. Tap, drag, tap, drag. Each step sounded closer. Closer, closer. Xia Hao whispered. Someone's outside. No. Qing answered instinctively. That's not someone. Neither of them knew why those words came out, but both believed them. Inside the live stream, people began sharing police scanner recordings. Several officers had arrived at the abandoned construction site. Excavators surrounded crane number 3. Television helicopters circled overhead. A reporter shouted into the camera. We've confirmed that human skeletal remains have indeed been recovered beneath the foundation exactly where the livestream predicted. Millions watched simultaneously. Then another officer lifted something from the soil. A rusted silver wristwatch. The livestream comments instantly recognized it. Wait, that's Gu Yinwan's watch. He wore that watch in old interviews. Oh my God. Within seconds old photos flooded social media. The comparison was unmistakable. Same scratches. Same broken clasp. Same custom engraving. Juan. Back in Chun Bufan's room, he quietly closed his eyes. They found it. The viewers immediately bombarded him. Was that really Gu Yinwan? Who has been dating Qing? Is there another explanation? He remained silent for several seconds, then answered softly. The body confirms only one thing. The man who should be alive is already dead. Across the country, police reopened a case that had officially been closed 3 years earlier. According to public records, Gu Yinwan had supposedly survived a car accident overseas. Medical documents confirmed it. Passport records confirmed it. Airport cameras confirmed it. Everything confirmed it. Yet, his skeleton had just been discovered beneath an abandoned construction site. Nothing made sense anymore. Meanwhile, inside the dark dressing room, the footsteps stopped. Silence. Absolute silence. Xinqing slowly looked toward the open doorway. No one. Her assistant whispered, "I think it's gone." Before Xinqing could answer, a familiar voice floated from the darkness. Soft, gentle, exactly like before. "Qing, I'm cold." Tears instantly filled Xinqing's eyes. That voice. She knew it. It was Gu Yinwan. But somehow, it sounded much farther away. Almost as if buried beneath layers of earth. The voice came again. "Why didn't you save me?" Her heart nearly stopped. What are you talking about?" No answer. Only silence. Then, another voice. This one much closer. Standing directly behind her. "Don't listen to him." She slowly turned around. Standing beside the makeup mirror was Gu Yinwan, perfectly dressed, perfectly smiling, exactly the same as before, except, this time, his feet weren't touching the floor. He floated several inches above it. His smile widened. "Qing, come home with me." At the exact same moment, every light inside the dressing room suddenly flickered. 1, 2, 3 times. Then, every bulb exploded simultaneously. The entire room was swallowed by darkness once again. Only one thing remained visible. 2 glowing white eyes, floating silently in front of Xinqing. And somewhere inside the darkness, a horrifying cracking sound echoed, like bones slowly twisting into place. The darkness inside the dressing room became so absolute that even breathing felt dangerous. Xinqing couldn't see her own hands anymore. The only thing visible was that pair of pale white eyes floating several feet away. Not blinking, not moving, simply staring. Her entire body froze. Even Xiahao had stopped crying. It was as if fear itself had stolen the ability to make a sound. Then, a crack echoed through the room. Not from the walls, not from the floor, from the thing standing in front of them. Bone after bone, twisted beneath its skin, producing a sickening crunch that echoed through the darkness. The smile on Gu Yinwan's face stretched unnaturally wider, far wider than any human mouth should. His lips slowly split at the corners. The pale teeth inside weren't human anymore. They looked long, sharp, almost identical to broken gravestones protruding from frozen ground. He spoke again. "Qing, you promised." His voice no longer belonged to one person. Hundreds of overlapping whispers emerged together. Young, old, male, female. Every voice repeated the same sentence. "You promised to marry me." Xinqing instinctively stepped backward. Her heel struck the dressing table. The phone slipped from her trembling fingers. Before it hit the floor, someone caught it. Not Gu Yinwan, not Xiahao. Pale, bony hand reached out from beneath the makeup table and gently lifted the phone. The fingers were impossibly thin, covered in dried mud. Their fingernails were cracked and packed with black soil. Slowly, the hand withdrew back underneath the table, taking the phone with it. Xiahao screamed. Something beneath the table laughed. A child's laugh. Soft, playful, yet horrifying enough to make both women forget how to breathe. Miles away, inside his tiny Livestream room, Chun Bufan suddenly opened his eyes. His expression changed for the first time that night. "No," he whispered. "There are more of them." The Livestream erupted. "What do you mean more? Who's there?" "Master, say something." He ignored every comment. Instead, he grabbed 3 ancient copper coins and threw them across the table. Clink, clink, clink. The coins spun wildly before stopping. All 3 landed the same way. Reverse. His face immediately became pale. The Earth Gate has opened. Millions of viewers had no idea what that meant. But the fear in his voice needed no explanation. At the abandoned construction site, floodlights illuminated the excavation. Police officers continued removing soil layer after layer. One detective suddenly frowned. "Captain, I think there's another skeleton." The excavator stopped. Workers switched to hand tools. Within minutes, a second skeleton appeared. Then a third. Then a fourth. Every one of them lay facing the exact same direction. Toward crane number 3. As though kneeling before something buried even deeper. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. No one spoke. One elderly forensic expert quietly muttered, "This isn't a burial, it's a sacrifice." His words were accidentally captured by a nearby television microphone. Within seconds, every livestream viewer heard them. The internet exploded. Back inside the dressing room, the air temperature continued dropping. Frost formed across the mirrors. The white roses on the floor slowly turned black. Every petal shriveled as though decades had passed in seconds. Gu Wan never moved. He simply watched Qingqing, smiling, waiting. Then, he extended his hand. "Come, let's go home." She shook uncontrollably. "I don't know you." His smile vanished. "You forgot again." His head slowly tilted. Too far. Far enough for vertebrae to crack loudly. Then, his neck continued rotating. 90 degrees. 180. 270. Until his face stared backward while his body still faced forward. Xia Hao collapsed onto the floor. She could no longer scream. Without warning, every mirror inside the room shattered. Thousands of glass fragments scattered everywhere. Yet, none touched Gu Wan. Instead, each broken shard reflected a different scene. One showed a wedding hall. Another revealed a blood-covered bride. Another displayed dozens of people kneeling underground. Qingqing looked into the largest shard. Her blood froze. Inside the reflection, she wasn't wearing today's white gown. She wore an ancient crimson wedding dress. Heavy golden phoenix ornaments decorated her hair. Fresh blood flowed from beneath the veil. Standing beside her was Gu Wan, except he wasn't smiling. Half his face had rotted away. Maggots crawled from the empty eye socket. His lips slowly moved. Even though no sound came from the mirror, Qingqing clearly understood the words. "You buried me alive." Her pupils shrank. "No, I didn't. I've never." Suddenly, pain exploded inside her head. Countless unfamiliar memories flooded her mind. Burning temple, red lanterns, wedding music, someone screaming, someone begging for help beneath collapsing wooden beams, someone clawing desperately at packed earth. Then, darkness. She fell to her knees, clutching her head. "I remember, but it wasn't me. Couldn't have been me." At the same moment, Chun Bufan's brush snapped in half. His eyes widened. "So that's it." The viewers flooded him with questions. What did you see?" He stared silently at the camera. Finally, he spoke. "This isn't about this lifetime." Everyone became confused. "What does that mean?" He slowly closed his eyes. "The marriage he speaks of was promised hundreds of years ago." The live stream instantly became silent. Even the comments slowed. "Reincarnation? Past life? Master, are you saying this started centuries ago?" He nodded once. Before he could continue, his room suddenly went dark. Every light switched off. The livestream camera remained running. Millions of viewers watched as Chun Bufan slowly turned toward the door. Someone was knocking. Knock, 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 exactly 3 times. Then a familiar voice echoed from outside. Calm, gentle, almost identical to the one Qingqing had heard. "Master Chun, I've come to settle our debt." The knocking continued. This time, the copper coins on Chun Bufan's table began spinning by themselves. And every live stream viewer watched as a bloody handprint slowly appeared on the outside of his door. The knocking outside Chun Bufan's door continued. Slow, patient, never hurried. Knock, knock, knock. Every sound echoed through the live stream microphone with terrifying clarity. More than 3 million people were watching live. No one typed. No one joked. The comments section, usually racing faster than anyone could read, slowed to a crawl. Everyone stared at the old wooden door behind Chun Bufan. The bloody handprint upon it slowly became clearer. Fresh blood trickled downward. Drop, drop, drop. It gathered on the floor like someone was standing outside with an injured hand pressed firmly against the wood. Chun Bufan never looked away. Instead, he quietly reached beneath the table and removed an object no one had seen before. It was an old bronze bell, smaller than a fist. Its surface was engraved with ancient symbols almost worn away by time. Without hesitation, he rang it once. Ding! The sound was soft, almost pleasant. Yet the instant it echoed through the room, the knocking stopped. Complete silence returned. Millions of viewers released the breath they didn't realize they had been holding. One comment finally appeared. Did it leave? Another followed. What exactly was outside? Chun Bufan slowly shook his head. No, it heard me, and now, it knows where I am. Those words sent another wave of panic across the internet. Meanwhile, more than 30 miles away, inside Xin Qing's dressing room, the shattered mirrors remained scattered across the floor. Every fragment reflected a different version of reality. One showed the empty room. Another showed Xin Qing standing alone. Another revealed Gu Inwan smiling beside her. But one small shard, hidden beneath the dressing table, reflected something else entirely. Someone stood behind Chun Bufan, watching him through the live stream. The viewers couldn't see it. Only the reflection inside that tiny mirror revealed the figure. A woman, dressed completely in crimson, her face covered by an old bridal veil. She stood perfectly still behind Chun Bufan's chair. One skeletal hand rested lightly on his shoulder. Back inside the live stream, an elderly viewer suddenly posted a comment. I paused the video. Everyone rewind. There's someone behind him. At first no one believed it. Then thousands began replaying the stream. Screenshots flooded social media within seconds. Some insisted it was fake. Others enlarged the image. Brightness increased. Contrast adjusted. Frame by frame, the red figure became unmistakable. Millions saw it. Only Chun Bufan remained unaware. Or perhaps, he had known all along. Without warning, his phone rang. The ringtone echoed unnaturally loud. An unknown number. He answered without speaking. For several seconds, only static. Then, a little girl's voice whispered, Master, they've found the fifth one. The call disconnected. Chun Bufan closed his eyes. His breathing became noticeably heavier. The fifth sacrificial victim, he murmured. The formation is almost complete. The audience erupted again. What formation? What victims? Who killed them? He looked toward the camera. This wasn't murder. It was preparation. At the excavation site, police had indeed uncovered a fifth skeleton. Unlike the others, this one remained perfectly preserved. His clothing had somehow survived underground. An old groom's wedding robe, bright crimson silk. Despite spending years beneath the earth, not a single thread had rotted. The detectives exchanged frightened glances. One younger officer carefully lifted a jade pendant from the skeleton's neck. The moment sunlight struck it, every nearby floodlight exploded simultaneously. Bang! 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 The entire construction site plunged into darkness. Officers shouted. Generators failed. Camera feeds cut out. Only one drone remained airborne. Its infrared camera continued broadcasting live. Millions watched online. The black and white image showed officers scrambling in confusion. Then, someone noticed another figure, standing motionless in the middle of the excavation pit. No one had seen it arrive. The figure slowly bent down, as though looking at the uncovered skeleton. Then, it raised its head, straight toward the drone. The camera suddenly distorted. Static flooded the screen. For one horrifying second, the viewers saw a face. Skin stretched tightly across bone. Empty eye sockets leaking black liquid. Then the drone lost signal completely. Inside Xin Qing's dressing room, she remained kneeling among broken glass. Fragments of forgotten memories continued flashing through her mind. A burning village. A wedding procession. Someone calling her by another name. Not Xin Qing. Liena. The voice echoed repeatedly. Liena. She clutched her temples. I remember. No, I can't. Guinwan watched silently. Then, for the first time, sadness appeared on his face. Not anger, not hatred, only unbearable sorrow. I searched for you, for 300 years. I crossed mountains. I crossed rivers. I waited beneath countless moons. I found you, again and again, but every lifetime, you forgot. A single tear rolled down his pale face. It wasn't water. It was blood. Dark crimson blood. It dripped silently onto the floor. The instant it landed, every broken mirror began glowing. Inside each fragment, a different lifetime appeared. A scholar, a soldier, a merchant, a doctor, musician, different faces, different centuries. Yet every single man possessed the exact same eyes. Gu Inwan's eyes, and every woman beside him, eventually died before the wedding. Xinqing stared in horror. This happened before. Gu Inwan nodded slowly. 27 times. Her breathing stopped. 27. You died. 27 times. He smiled bitterly. And every time, I came back. Far away, Chun Bufan suddenly slammed both palms onto the table. No! His shout startled everyone watching. He stared at something invisible. They're lying to you. At that exact moment, Xinqing heard his voice. Not from the live stream, not from a phone. Inside the room itself, echoing from every direction. Don't believe him. The memories are real, but they're incomplete. Gu Inwan's gentle expression disappeared instantly. His eyes turned pitch black. You, he slowly looked upward. Should have stayed silent, Master Chun. The temperature inside both locations dropped simultaneously. Chun Bufan's windows frosted over. Xinqing's breath turned white. 3 million viewers watched in terrified silence as identical ancient symbols slowly appeared on the walls behind both of them, as if two places, separated by dozens of miles, had suddenly become one. And somewhere between those two worlds, something enormous finally awakened. The ancient symbols spread across the walls like living veins. At first they appeared as faint crimson lines. Then, one by one, they began glowing. Neither Xinqing nor Chun Bufan had ever seen this formation completely awaken before. The symbols pulsed with an eerie heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. Every pulse echoed simultaneously inside both rooms. It was as though an invisible bridge had connected them across dozens of miles. 3 million viewers watched helplessly as both live streams seemed to overlap. For brief moments, Xinqing's dressing room appeared behind Chun Bufan. Then Chun Bufan's fortune-telling room flickered behind Xinqing. Reality itself seemed unstable. Nobody watching understood what they were seeing. Yet everyone felt the same unbearable pressure. People sitting thousands of miles away instinctively lowered the brightness of their screens. Some suddenly felt nauseous. Others complained of headaches. Several viewers claimed their phone cameras had turned on by themselves. Chun Bufan slowly stood. This was the first time during the entire livestream that he had risen from his chair. Behind him, the crimson bridal figure remained motionless. The skeletal hand still rested lightly on his shoulder. Yet he acted as though he couldn't feel it. Instead, he looked directly into the camera. Everyone, listen carefully. His voice was calm, but unusually serious. If anything I say happens inside your home, do not investigate. Do not answer unfamiliar voices. And whatever you hear tonight, never open your door after midnight. The comments exploded again. What is happening? Master, are we in danger too? Is this thing coming through the live stream? He remained silent, because he didn't know. That uncertainty frightened him more than anything else. At the abandoned construction site, special investigators had surrounded the excavation. Military vehicles arrived. The entire area was sealed off. Television stations were ordered to stop broadcasting, but countless civilians remained nearby. Everyone wanted to know why police were treating one skeleton as though it were a national emergency. Deep underground, workers carefully removed another layer of soil. Their shovels suddenly struck stone. Not concrete, not bedrock, a perfectly carved circular platform. ancient, covered with symbols identical to those appearing inside both livestream rooms. One archaeologist immediately knelt beside it. His face turned pale. This isn't a construction foundation. It's a ritual altar. No one answered, because everyone had noticed the same thing. At the exact center of the stone platform, there was one empty space, perfectly shaped like a coffin. Inside Xin Qing's dressing room, Gu Yinhuan continued staring at her. His expression had become strangely peaceful. I never wanted revenge. He spoke softly. I only wanted to finish our wedding. His words sounded sincere, painfully sincere. Xin Qing wanted to step backward, yet her legs refused to move. Fragments of unfamiliar memories kept flooding into her mind. She saw herself laughing beneath blooming peach trees. She saw herself placing a jade pendant around a young man's neck. She heard herself making a promise. No matter how many lifetimes pass, I'll find you again. The memory shattered. She gasped violently. Tears streamed down her face. I remember saying those words. Gu Yinhuan smiled sadly. I remembered them every day. His eyes slowly closed. But you forgot. Suddenly, another voice interrupted. Cold, ancient, filled with authority. Because she was never allowed to remember. The room froze. Gu Yinhuan's face changed instantly. His calm expression disappeared. Fear. For the first time, actual fear appeared in his eyes. He slowly turned toward the broken mirrors. Inside every fragment, another person had appeared. An elderly man dressed in black ceremonial robes. His long white hair reached his waist. His face looked impossibly old. Not 80, not 100. Ancient beyond imagination. His eyes glowed dull gold. When he stepped forward, he emerged directly from the mirror, without breaking the glass. As though walking between worlds, the shattered fragments remained floating around him. None touched the floor. Gu Yinhuan instinctively stepped backward. It can't be. The old man looked at him without emotion. It has been 300 years. You still refuse to let go. Far away, the moment Chun Bufan saw the old man, his knees nearly buckled. He immediately bowed. Not out of politeness, out of instinct. Master, he whispered. The livestream audience exploded. Who is that? Master Chun bowed? Is that his teacher? The old man ignored the camera. His gaze remained fixed upon Gu Yinhuan. You blame fate. You blame heaven. You blame reincarnation. But you never asked the simplest question. Gu Yinhuan's voice trembled. What question? The old man raised one finger. Who buried you? Silence. Complete silence. Even Xin Qing stopped breathing. Gu Yinhuan frowned. He stopped speaking. His expression slowly changed. Confusion, then doubt, then disbelief. His memories were becoming unstable. I remember a wedding, a fire, darkness. He clutched his head. But I can't remember who. The old man sighed deeply, because those memories were never yours. The room shook violently. Every mirror exploded into powder. A deafening scream echoed from somewhere beneath the building. Not one voice. Thousands. Thousands of tortured souls crying together. The floor cracked open. Black mist poured upward like smoke from the depths of the earth. Inside that endless darkness, countless pale hands reached upward. Hundreds. Thousands. Desperately clawing toward the living. Xin Qing screamed. Xia Hao fainted instantly. Even Gu Yinhuan stared downward in horror. What is that? The old man's expression became grim. The truth. He slowly looked toward Xin Qing. Everything you remember, everything he remembers, everything Chun Bufan has seen, has been manipulated. The room fell silent again. Then, he spoke the sentence that changed everything. 300 years ago, the groom who died was never Gu Yinhuan. Every heartbeat seemed to stop. Gu Yinhuan stood frozen. Xin Qing stared blankly. Even Chun Bufan's eyes widened. If the dead man wasn't Gu, then who had been following Xin Qing through 27 lifetimes? And why did he possess the memories of a man who had never existed? At that exact moment, a deep laugh echoed from somewhere beneath the ancient altar at the construction site. It wasn't human. It wasn't even ghostly. It sounded impossibly old. Older than the altar. Older than history itself. The earth trembled. The stone coffin at the center of the ritual platform. Slowly. There was no channel name. No profile picture. No description. Only a black thumbnail showing the silhouette of an old mansion standing beneath a blood-red moon. Most people assumed it was another marketing stunt. Some clicked out of curiosity. Within 60 seconds, more than 500,000 viewers had entered the livestream. The video quality was crystal clear. The camera slowly moved through the entrance hall as though someone invisible carried it. Dust floated lazily through the cold air. Broken chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Ancient portraits lined both sides of the hallway. Every face inside those paintings had its eyes scratched out. The livestream chat exploded. Who's filming this? Is this a horror movie promotion? The camera movement looks real. Then, a woman's voice whispered through the microphone. So many people. I've been waiting. The comments instantly froze. No one could identify where the voice came from. There was nobody visible on screen. Only an empty hallway. The camera continued walking. Every footstep echoed through the abandoned mansion. Step, step, step. It stopped outside a massive wooden door. Carved into the center was a symbol no viewer recognized. A circle surrounded by 13 tiny eyes. Without anyone touching it, the door slowly creaked open. Inside stood a dining room. A long table stretched nearly 40 feet. 13 chairs. 13 untouched dinner plates. 13 candles. Every candle suddenly lit itself. One after another. The viewers watched in stunned silence. At the head of the table sat nothing. An empty chair. Yet the chair slowly pulled backward. As if someone invisible had just taken a seat. A glass of red wine lifted into the air. Tilted. Then slowly returned to the table. The livestream chat exploded again. This has to be CGI. Look at the shadows. No editing software is that good. Suddenly, the camera turned toward an enormous grandfather clock. Its hands pointed to exactly 11:11. Tick, tick, tick. The second hand stopped moving. Every candle immediately went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Only one sound remained. Children laughing. Not one child. Many. Dozens. Their laughter echoed from every direction. The camera jerked violently toward the ceiling. Something was crawling across it. Fast. Too fast to identify. Only pale fingers could be seen gripping the wooden beams before disappearing into the darkness. Thousands of viewers instantly left the stream. Twice as many joined. The viewer count crossed 1 million. Far away in another city, former detective Ethan Cross stared at his laptop. He had spent 20 years investigating disappearances. Blackwood Manor had haunted his career. 32 people had entered the mansion over the past 70 years. None had ever come out. Every investigation ended the same way. No fingerprints. No bodies. No evidence. Just silence. He leaned closer to the screen. Then his face lost all color. On the wall behind the dining table hung an old family portrait. One he had personally removed from the mansion 12 years earlier. It had been locked inside a police evidence room ever since. Yet there it was, back on the wall, exactly where it had originally hung. Someone called him. His phone displayed only one word. Unknown. He answered. A frightened male voice whispered, "Detective, it's happening again." Before Ethan could respond, the caller screamed. The line went dead. At the exact same moment, the livestream camera slowly turned toward a hallway mirror. For the first time, the viewers saw the person carrying the camera. There wasn't one. The camera floated alone. But standing directly behind it was a little girl, around 8 years old, barefoot, wearing an old white dress stained with mud. She smiled, then slowly raised one finger, not toward the viewers, toward something standing behind them. The livestream suddenly glitched. Every viewer's screen flashed black. For less than 1 second, A sentence appeared in white letters. "Don't look behind you." Then, the stream resumed. But thousands of viewers had already turned around. And many of them later claimed someone had been standing in their room. Yet it was already too late. Across the country, thousands of viewers had instinctively turned around. Some laughed nervously after finding nothing. Others immediately closed the live stream. But hundreds remained frozen in place. Because they hadn't been alone. In a small apartment nearly 600 miles away, a college student named Olivia slowly lowered her phone. Her heartbeat thundered inside her chest. She was certain she had heard someone breathing behind her. The room was empty. She lived alone. Trying to calm herself, she forced a smile. Just my imagination. Then, her television switched on by itself. Static filled the screen. The volume increased. 5, 10, 20. Without warning, the static cleared. A live security camera appeared. Not from Blackwood Manor. From her own living room. Olivia stared in horror. The camera angle came from the corner near the ceiling. An angle that didn't exist. She had never installed any cameras. On the television, she watched herself standing exactly where she was. But behind her, someone stood only inches away. A tall figure dressed entirely in black. Its face was hidden beneath a hood. Olivia spun around. Nothing. She looked back at the television. The figure was still there, standing silently behind her, watching. His head slowly tilted. Then, he smiled. Meanwhile, former detective Ethan Cross had already grabbed his car keys. Blackwood Manor was nearly 3 hours away. He had sworn never to return. Yet, after seeing the stolen family portrait hanging inside the live stream, he knew someone wanted him there. His phone rang again. Unknown number. This time, he answered immediately. No voice. Only an old music box melody. A lullaby. One Ethan hadn't heard in 20 years. His hands tightened around the steering wheel. Only one person knew that melody. His daughter, Emily. The daughter who had disappeared inside Blackwood Manor 18 years earlier. Back inside the live stream, the invisible camera continued exploring the mansion. The viewer count had climbed past 2 million. Nobody wanted to leave, even though many admitted they were terrified. The camera entered a vast library. Thousands of ancient books covered the shelves from floor to ceiling. Every title had faded with age, except one. A single black leather journal rested on a wooden stand beneath a beam of moonlight. The cover contained only one sentence. Every viewer becomes a witness. The invisible camera moved closer. The book opened by itself. Its yellow pages turned rapidly. Hundreds, thousands, as though searching for something. Finally, the pages stopped. A list of names filled the paper. Viewer usernames. One after another. Every few seconds, a new name appeared, exactly matching people currently watching the live stream. The comments exploded. My username is there. This is fake. How did they know? More names continued writing themselves across the page. No pen, no hand, only invisible ink appearing letter by letter. Then, one username suddenly changed color. Bright red. The account immediately disappeared from the livestream chat. People tagged the user repeatedly. No response. 30 seconds later, another username turned red. Then another. Then another. Inside the mansion, a grandfather clock suddenly chimed. 1, 2, 3, until it reached 13. Every candle throughout the manor lit simultaneously. The camera slowly turned. Standing at the far end of the library, the little girl had returned. She smiled exactly as before, but this time, she wasn't alone. 12 silent figures stood behind her. Each wore identical black clothing. Each had no visible face. They formed a perfect circle around her. The girl looked directly into the camera, then whispered, "They found another one." Every hooded figure slowly pointed toward the basement. The wooden floor beneath them trembled. A loud crack echoed through the mansion. The floorboards split apart. A hidden staircase appeared, descending into complete darkness. The camera hesitated. Then, began walking downward. Every step deeper underground made the air visibly colder. The stone walls became damp. Chains hung from the ceiling. Ancient symbols covered every surface. Finally, the staircase ended. A massive iron door stood before the camera. Across its surface, someone had carved a warning. Do not open from either side. The chat erupted. Who's on the other side? Turn back. Don't open it. For several long seconds, nothing happened. Then, a loud bang echoed from the other side. Another. Then another. Something was trying to get out. The entire door shook violently. Rust rained onto the floor. The invisible camera remained perfectly still, as though waiting. Suddenly, everything became silent. No banging. No movement. Only one faint sound remained. Someone whispering from behind the iron door. Please, don't leave me here. The voice belonged to a child. The little girl upstairs slowly closed her eyes. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She whispered almost inaudibly, "He's lying." The camera immediately stepped backward. The iron door exploded outward. A deafening roar echoed through the underground chamber. Freezing wind rushed through the hallway. The livestream glitched violently. For one terrifying frame, millions of viewers saw dozens of glowing eyes opening inside the darkness beyond the broken doorway. Then, the stream abruptly cut to black. Across every screen appeared just 6 chilling words. The screen remained black. For several long seconds, nobody moved. Nobody refreshed the page. More than 2 million viewers simply stared at the darkness, waiting. Then, a single sound echoed through every speaker. Drip, 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 water. Or perhaps, blood. No one could tell. Slowly, the picture returned. The camera was no longer inside the underground chamber. It now floated inside a narrow stone corridor.